Hello and welcome to the channel again. This is Sam trying to spin to win on Zwift. Well, at least we don't have any more ITTs to do. But unfortunately, we have to face an absolute monster of a stage today on the Surrey Hills, the Queen stage. Not looking forward to this one at all, but I'm gonna give it my best and I have a master plan. Yes, I'm gonna just imagine I'm doing Tempus Fugit. Therefore, I won't even notice all the hills. I'm just gonna cruise right over them.
Yeah, right.
It should be an interesting race today. I honestly have no idea how hard people are gonna push right from the start going up Box Hill, considering it is gonna be a pretty long and attritional race. But only one way to find out, I suppose. But before we start the suffering and agony, let's have a quick look at the CRP leaderboard from stage 8 and see if I'm making any progress. There are no significant changes in the top 10. Mr. Gaunt is doing extremely well with a 0 E-gap still. Impressive indeed. For me, yes, unfortunately, scrolling all the way to 61st place out of 77 riders that have completed all 8 stages so far. Still a long way to go to achieve top half of the leaderboard, but I will keep plugging away. You never know. And we are off. And I am not late this time. Hopefully I will not make that noob mistake again. So, tactics for the Queen stage. Well, I knew off the bat I wouldn't be able to go with the top riders today. Too many hills and too many strong lightweight climbers in the mix. Also, there is another stage tomorrow which I'm really looking forward to, so I didn't want to absolutely kill myself today. As such, I really wanted to make sure I paced myself correctly. I was going to see what kind of pace the front decided to go on the first climb, and if I could stay with that, then fine. Otherwise, I would drop back to the next group. And I plan to do the same with each hill. See if I could stay with the group I was in without going too far into the red. Otherwise, I would sit up and drop back a group. Rinse and repeat. Let's see if I executed the plan well or badly. So, we hit the first climb very quickly. This is Fox Hill, which is part of the lead-in. Thank you very much, Mr. FRR Race Control.
He's evil!
The first part of the climb was okay, and I could stay with the front without going into the red, something I really didn't want to do this early in what is a very long stage. However, when we get to the last steep kicker, the front ups the pace a bit and I decide to keep pushing at my pace, and they slowly drift away from me. But I was fine with this, all part of the master plan. And it wasn't like I was that slow either. I think I had a 5-minute power of 4.7 watts per kilo up that climb, which is not bad for me. And at the top of the climb, a new group forms, and we start down the very steep descent, some 20 seconds behind the front group. We have skipped forward slightly here to the start of the Keith Hill climb. To my surprise, the group I was in actually catch the front group here pretty early in this climb. They really must have taken their foot off the gas for some reason. But whatever the reason, I find myself in the front group again, going up the longest climb of the day. The pace was okay for me for most of the Keith Hill climb, but when we hit the really steep section with around 1.5 kilometers to go, the pace increases further. At first I stay with the front, but I keep monitoring my heart rate as again, I think it's too early for me to go deep into the red. And with about 1 kilometer to go of the climb, I slowly start drifting back. And finally, with around 500 meters to go, I decide to ease my effort a bit and continue at a more sustainable pace. I think if I would have gone all out here, I could have stayed with the front. But again, I didn't really want to risk completely blowing up this early in the race, since we still have at least another hour and 15 minutes left. As I get to the top, I find myself in a bit of no man's land. the front group is too far away and the chasing group is some 20 to 30 seconds behind me. So I decide to continue at a sustainable pace for me, with the understanding that the chasing group will catch me up in time. I ride solo for the next 15 minutes or so, keeping a solid but sustainable pace. And as expected, the chasing group does catch up to me as we approach the top of Box Hill. As I settle into this new group, I wonder whether I should have let them catch me earlier. But again, I just rode a solid tempo and I felt I was still able to rest a bit from the first two efforts. But please do let me know in the comments below whether you think I did the right thing here or not. This turned out to be a very solid group, and we did the next couple climbs together at what I felt was a sustainable pace for most of us. I think we may have dropped a rider or two, but nobody really pushed the pace that much, and it felt like all of us knew we were in the same boat. I just wanted to show a quick section here with Mr. Atherton asking nicely that the group gets a shout out in the vlog during the, as he calls it, the boring bit of the course in one of the sections between climbs. So, Mr. Atherton, here is the shout out. And yes, it was a bit boring, but as mentioned, this was a good group to ride with, and I enjoyed it as much as one can on a course in a race like this one. We have now skipped forward to the last climb of the day. Our little group is still together and we're all preparing for the last effort. My teammate Frederick is clearly in trouble as he asks for a cookie, and Dennis comments that he's tired. Guys, I can confirm that I would also have liked to have a cookie at this point, and yes, I was tired as well. But let's crack on with the climb, shall we? We all stayed together for the first part, but then two riders, Mr. Macmillan and Mr. Pallister, decides that they want to push on, and they start getting a bit of a gap that slowly keeps growing. The rest of us stayed together and pushed steady watts, around 4 watts per kilo, I think. We have skipped forward a little again to the start of the steep section of Leith Hill. There is now only 1.5 kilometers left to the finish, and I, for one, can't wait to get this over with now. Mr. Macmillan and Mr. Pallister is now some 30 seconds ahead of us, pushing pretty hard from the looks of it. We also push reasonably hard here, on tired legs, and I think a couple of riders fall behind just a bit. But I am really feeling the effort at this point as well, and since we have another really tough stage tomorrow, I decided that I will keep working away, but that I'm not going to fully empty the tank today. So with around 500 meters left of the climb, a few riders start moving away from me slowly. Really strong ride from you guys, chapeau. I keep plugging away, working hard, but again not flat out, and I get to the top of the climb with Mr. Williams. I then draft a bit behind Mr. Williams before I put in a very small kick at the very end to finish in 22nd place. Overall, pretty happy with that effort, but it sure is sobering to see I was over 6 minutes behind the winner, who must have really flown up these hills, or used an e-bike, or something. I apologize for the small print here, but this way I could make sure I was on the first page of the results today. Silly, I know, but hey, I make the vlog, so my rules.
Sad little man.
Some very impressive figures at the top of the leaderboard here, especially for 5 minutes. Not sure what climb that set those figures on, but anything over 5 watts per kilo for 5 minutes on a course like today is impressive, at least to me. Especially since I can't do that for 5 minutes. I finished in 22nd place, as mentioned, over 6 minutes behind the winner, but I'm still pretty happy with how I rode this one today. Yes, that is a lot of e-gap lost, but it could have been worse, I think. And I also, as much as I could anyway, saved the legs for tomorrow. Whether that master plan works or not is a different story altogether. Post-race thoughts. Woo! Tough one, but really good endurance workout. Enjoyed that one in a weird way. First climb was spicy. Second climb, spicy. I decided to let the front go there. because while I think I could have kept up on that climb, I would have ended up paying way too much for that later. So I think I did a smart thing. Was in solo land for quite a while. Let the group behind me slowly catch me up. I think they caught me on the next climb, Box Hill. Then we rode together. Positions 19 to 26, I think it was. Somebody shouted out in the chat. Rode well together. Climbed at about, I don't know, just over 4 watts per kilo. That was manageable. Got to the last climb. A couple of guys went off the front, good for them. The rest, we pushed pretty hard, but it wasn't really an all-out effort for me then. Held a little bit back for tomorrow, which is going to be a really tough course. I said 15-20 seconds today is not going to matter at the end of the day. I'd rather have a really good performance tomorrow if I can. So I will go over that course tomorrow, the Royal Pump Room, in detail after this section in the vlog. So please check that out if that's of interest to you. Overall, pretty happy with that. Lost 6 minutes, but some of those guys in the front are just too strong. Really, really good climbers. So well done to them. Rest, recover, and hopefully I'll see you on the start line tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye. Stage 10. We made it. And if you managed to do all 9 stages so far, massive kudos to you. This is not easy and is a real achievement as far as I'm concerned.
You guys are the real heroes.
But in true FRR race control style, we have one tough final stage. We will do almost 2 laps of the Royal Pump Room course and will end at a custom finish towards the end of the second lap. You should recognize this parkour by now, as it is very similar to the one we did for the ITT a few days ago.
Deja vu, right?
Zwift Insider estimates the following times to complete 1 lap. So if we double that and take a bit off since we're not doing 2 full laps, we get to around an hour and 15 minutes or perhaps an hour and 20 minutes for the CRP GHT category. If we take a closer look at the parkour, we can see that it is indeed very, very bumpy. This one will be one for the puncheurs out there, for sure. And short, sharp efforts is the theme of the day here. For example, we will go over the Yorkshire Come twice and the Yorkshire Come Reverse twice. And of course, there are also 2 sprints to contend with on each lap. So your ability to push high watts for a minute or 2, then followed by a short recovery period, will be absolutely key to doing well on this course. For me, I will choose a disc wheel for sure here. Climbs are not that long, and you will need all of the recovery you can get on the flats and the descents before you have to push really, really hard again. Tomorrow is going to be another brutal one, but I really hope to see you there. One final race, and we are over the line. Yay!